Morning, Karen. Karen, let me know if you can hear me. We'll go ahead and get started in about a minute or so, but make sure that you can hear my audio. I know last time we had a problem with that. Perfect. As we get started this morning, guys, you are going to want a strap or a scarf or a belt. So a strap, a scarf, or a belt. You don't have to have that, but it will be helpful if you're tighter. So strap, scarf, or belt. Just go ahead and grab that, anything that you could put around your foot if you don't have the flexibility in the back of the legs. But if you're pretty mobile behind the legs, you may not need it. So a strap would be wonderful. Awesome. We're going to go ahead and get started on our backs. So we'll get started with just easy breath. So lying all the way down on your back. If there is a blanket you want to grab or anything that makes that more comfortable for you, feel free to. So lying all the way down, allowing yourself to soften. As we practice today, we will focus on ahimsa, which is a Sanskrit word for non-harm or non-stealing, non-violence. But the real meaning of that phrase is that naturally, as humans that are animals, we tend to self-preserve. So we have a little bit of violence in us for self-protection. But as humans with compassionate hearts, we want to continue to be loving and compassionate towards all beings. And that starts internally. So that starts with your thoughts. Forgiving yourself, being kind to yourself. As you move throughout class today, noticing what things you say to yourself, if you're being loving, kind, graceful. And then working outward, that goes into your actions, working towards non-judgment, towards love and kindness towards other people, and then to the world around you, knowing that everyone in this world is our joint family. The practice of ahimsa, himsa being the root of violence, meaning less or non-violence. Starting with our thoughts. As we lie on our back, we'll take easy breaths, so we'll breathe in as slowly as we can and breathe out as slowly as we can. Can be in and out through the nose or the mouth, is totally up to you, so as slow as you can breathing in. And as slow as you can breathing out. A few more like this, really slow in. Really slow out. Maybe so slowly that even the hairs in the nose don't move. Last full round of slow breath here. Just noticing, maybe if you feel a little bit softer, if you feel like you've kind of sunk in and come home to yourself. By just changing the temperature and the pace at which we breathe, slowing it down a bit. You can start to bend your left knee, plant your left foot on the ground, and start to bring your right knee in towards the body. So we're working in towards the hip, but keeping that left knee bend. And slowly start to extend your left leg out in front of you. And you'll start to straighten your right leg up towards the ceiling. So keeping that right leg straight, your hands can be anywhere that's comfortable. Take a little bend in your right knee and then try and re-straighten your right leg. You'll stretch your heel up towards the ground and the toes towards you. A little bend in the knee, and on an exhale, a little straighten. A few more like this, bending and straightening. It should actually be kind of challenging. You may start to feel it in the quad. And then straighten that leg and hold that right leg straight. It's just a little bit cozier around my leg than a belt or strap. So the right leg is out towards the side. And then slowly coming back towards center. Strap will come off your right leg. Keep your right leg straight. Grab opposite elbows above your head. And slowly rebend that right knee. We'll switch sides. Right leg extends. Bend your left knee and then rebend your right knee. Plant that right foot on the ground. And straightening the right leg down towards the ground. You'll straighten the left leg up towards the ceiling. One side might be more challenging than the other. You'll take a little bend in that left knee, and then exhale, straighten. Bending and straightening. A few more like this. Bending and straightening. Really working into that synovial fluid in the joints. It's like coconut oil almost for our joints. Or olive oil. It's more warming oil. Last couple. While we're here, keep that leg straight. Be still there and then grab opposite elbows above your head. Face and jaw are soft, lips are soft. And slowly go ahead and grab your strap. Or if you don't have a strap, just reach behind the thigh. Strap comes around your left foot. You can cross. I find a little bit more stability when I cross around the foot. On your exhales, releasing tension, imagining the space behind your hamstring opening up. Starting off in the morning, you just might be a little tighter, that's okay. And we'll slowly bring that left leg out towards the side. And the left leg will come back towards center. Take the strap off of your left leg. Both the knees come into the chest. Just leave your strap at the side of you. Come into a little ball, rock a little from side to side, massaging the spine, pointing and flexing the feet. And begin to rock forward and backward. We'll meet in a tabletop position. So a little bit of a rocking motion in the body. And then coming up towards your tabletop position. Hands come underneath the body. We'll start with our wrists facing one another and middle fingers facing outward. So you'll just start to rock a little from side to side in the wrists. Then we'll turn our fingers towards one another. So top of your hand comes down, fingers face one another. Top of your hand comes down, fingers face one another, thumbs come forward. If you can, try and move your fingers around, or maybe even make fists in the hands. This should be challenging. Your arms may not be straight, that's okay. And turn your hands traditionally, middle fingers facing forward. Tuck your toes and just hover your knees off the ground a little bit. Then we'll sit the hips back towards the heels, but keep your knees bent, and then come back to hover. A couple more like this. Sit the hips back towards the heels and then hover. Last one, sit the hips back towards the heels and hover. Downward facing dog. First down dog, take your time. Try and stay long on your mat. Press into the thumbs and the fingers. Lift the hips up. Press into the heels, the hands. Slowly start to bend your knees. Walk or hop the feet to the front of your mat. On an inhale, halfway lift, lengthen through your spine. On an exhale, fold forward. Grab opposite elbows, let everything hang. Maybe bend your knees a little bit. Release the hands down towards the ground. Roll all the way up towards the stand. So coming up into your standing position, your left arm is at the side of you. Your right hand's gonna reach behind your back and try and grab your left bicep. So my right hand reaches around my back and tries to grab my left bicep. We'll get into the neck here. Lift your chin up a little bit and then drop your right ear towards your right shoulder. Chin away from the chest. And then chin comes towards your right clavicle, that collarbone. You should feel a stretch in the left side of your neck. Then chin comes straight down. Stretch behind the neck and the upper back. And lift the chin back up. We'll switch sides. Right arm goes straight. Reach for your right bicep if you can behind the back. Left ear to your left shoulder. Chin is away from the chest. Then chin down towards your left collarbone. And chin down towards your chest. Release both of the hands down by the ground. On an inhale, lift your arms up and high towards the ceiling. On an exhale, fold forward, traditional sun salutation. Inhale, lengthen through your spine, halfway lift. On an exhale, step back to plank. I'm going to take these chaturangas modified on my knees, but you could do it with straight legs. For the first one, bend your knees, bend at your elbows, lower halfway down. Inhale to upward facing dog. We'll take different types of vinyasa today. Then on an exhale, come up into plank. Tuck your toes, lift your hips. Option to stay here or drop back down to your knees. Bend at your elbows, lower halfway down. And press back to downward facing dog. It's a strength variation of a chaturanga. 2 more breaths in your down dog. Bend your knees, look towards your hands. Walk or float the feet in front of your mat. On an inhale, halfway lift, lengthen through your spine. Bend at the elbows, lower halfway down. Press back up. 2 more. Bend at the elbows, lower halfway down. Press back up. Last one. Bend at the elbows, halfway down. Triple dip. Press back up. Inhale to upward facing dog. You can always take those from the knees. And exhale back to downward facing dog. 3 breaths in your down dog. Bend Bend the knees, look towards the hands, walk or float the feet in front of your mat, or last round here. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, arms all the way up and high. Exhale, hands at the heart. Last full round of Sene. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, step back into plank. This is our last variation of a chaturanga. I'm going to take it for my fingertips. This is a lot of strength in your hands, so don't overdo it. The easier variation is from the knees. Bend at your elbows, lower halfway down. Then inhale to upward facing dog. And exhale back to downward facing dog. That's a tricky one. Always something to try out. Build strength in the hands. Last 2 breaths. On an inhale, step your right foot forward. We'll come to a lunge position, but keep your left knee lifted. We'll just kind of shift forward and back in that right leg. So kind of finding mobility. You can open up. There's not a right or wrong way to do this. Just kind of moving into that leg, that hip, that hamstring. Then coming back towards stillness, start to try and straighten your front leg. This is a pretty deep stretch, so you may still have a bent knee. That's okay. If your knee's bent, that's all right. My left heel is lifted. This is like a long pyramid variation. And then from this space, trying to keep my right leg in that space where it's a deep stretch behind the leg. On an inhale, I will halfway lift, lengthen through my spine. And then an exhale, bring your chin down towards your shin. Couple more like this. Inhale, halfway lift. And exhale, chin towards shin. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, chin towards shin. Last one, inhale up. Exhale, chin to shin. Step back into plank. Hold in plank. I'm going to take it from the knees, but you could do it with legs straight. Part of ahimsa and non-harm or less harm is also not taking things that your body doesn't want right now. So say for instance, for me, my body is craving modified variations today, but really listening to your internal self and what it needs. Back to downward facing dog, toes tuck, hips come up and high. Left foot steps forward. We'll take those lunges, so just finding kind of mobility in the hip and the quad. Not a right or a wrong movement in this. And then we'll work again towards straightening that front leg like a long pyramid. So slowly start to straighten your front leg, your left leg. On an inhale, halfway lift, and an exhale, lean forward. It could be the tiniest lift and lower, it doesn't need to be big. Inhale up, exhale down. 2 more, inhale up, exhale down. Last one, inhale up, exhale down. Plant your hands, step back into plank. Knees could be lifted or on the ground. Soften somewhere. So it's all a balance of engaging and letting go, holding on and letting go in the body and the mind and your life and kind of all of that. A dance between holding on and letting go. And being deeply involved yet unattached. Front of the mat. On an inhale, halfway lift, lengthen through your spine. On an exhale, fold forward. I don't know what is going on with my phone. So from your chair pose, on an exhale, we'll fold forward. Hands come down towards the ground. This is just a variation of sun B. On an inhale, halfway lift, lengthen through your spine. On an exhale, step back into plank. You can take a chaturanga, or you could skip it, or you could take it from the knees, just a normal chaturanga. Inhale to upward facing dog. It's like cleaning the slate, and exhale to downward facing dog. Step your right foot forward, warrior 1. Left heel stays on the ground, arms reach up and high. And then exhale straight back down to chaturanga. Always can skip it. Bend at the elbows, halfway down. Upward facing and downward facing. Left foot will step forward, warrior 1. Arms reach up and high. And exhale back down. Clean the slate in that chaturanga or skip it. 3 breaths in your down dog. Bend your knees, look towards your hands. Walk or float to the front of your mat. On an inhale, halfway lift, lengthen through your spine. On an exhale, fold forward. On an inhale, come to chair pose. Hands can be up and high or at the heart. And then on an exhale, stand. We'll have one more full round of Surya Namaskar B or Sun Salutation B. On an inhale, come to chair pose. On an exhale, fold forward. On an inhale, halfway lift. On an exhale, take or skip that chaturanga. Upward facing, and then to downward facing dog. Right foot steps forward, warrior one, arms reach up and high. Exhale, straight back down, chaturanga. Modify it or skip it. Upward facing dog and downward facing dog. Left foot steps, warrior one, arms reach up and high. And exhale, take or skip your chaturanga. Inhale to upward and exhale to downward. One more big breath in down dog. Bend both of the knees, look towards the hands, walk or float to the front of your mat. On an inhale, halfway lift, lengthen through your spine. On an exhale, fold forward. On an inhale, come to chair pose. We're going to try a little bit more challenging chair, but this is up to you on where you want to take it. So if you want to stay here, stay here. If you want a little bit more of a challenge, bring your feet hip width apart, sit your hips back, and lift your heels up. Then we'll come to a half chair. This is quite challenging. You're folding halfway down, but lifting your heels. And then if you still wanted one more addition, grab opposite elbows above your head. We'll hold for 5. I'm going to modify hands at my heart. 4, 3, for 2, heels a little higher for 1, exhale, fold forward. We'll come towards Padmasana. Bend your knees quite a bit, maybe a lot if you're tighter in the hamstrings. And you're going to try and reach your hands underneath your feet. So you may need a really big squat in the legs if you're tighter. You're eventually trying to get your toes towards your wrists. So you bend your knees quite a bit, and then you just work towards straightening your legs and pulling the elbows wide. Full 5 breaths here. You'll shift forward in the toes. So weight is still in the heels, but more weight is in the toes and the fingers. And slowly release your hands down towards the ground. We'll step back into plank. I'm going to take it from the knees, but listen, if you'd like more, straight legs. If you still would like a little bit more, float one leg. You could do this with a left leg straight as well. But if you're floating a leg, your right leg is floating. You could also do it with one knee down. Press away from the earth in the hands. And slowly we'll come back towards downward facing dog. Slowly walk the hands back to meet the feet at the back of your mat. Bend your knees. This time your peace fingers are going to reach around your big toes. So you're going to reach like a monkey grip around your big toes. Bend your knees a lot if you need to. And then try and straighten your legs and pull yourself down towards the shins. Elbows are out and wide. Toes are pressing into the fingers. Fingers are pulling into the toes. You're also strengthening the wrists for 4, for 3, for 2, and for 1. Release the hands back down to the ground. Walk forward. We'll come back into plank. That second side if you want to lift a leg. So left leg would lift, you could do it, or you could just stay on the knees, or you could be in full plank lifting your left leg. And we'll lift the hips back up, downward facing dog. Walk both of the feet to the front of the mat. You'll go ahead and bring your left hand to your hips. You might have to look at this for the first time. If you're tight in your hamstrings and your peace fingers can't touch your big toe, so say when you're in a standing position, if it's too much behind the leg, you're gonna wanna put a strap around your foot and do this with a strap instead. So I'm gonna show both versions of this. First one is the modified with the strap. My left hand stays on my hip, my right leg stays straight. I use my balance and I start to lift my right leg up. Second variation, if you're feeling more balance, as your peace fingers come to your big toe, you start to bend your left knee a little bit. You come all the way up towards a stand with your right leg straight. It's hard, it's meant to be hard. So get there however you can. It could also be modified kind of like this, just with your right knee lifted out in front of you and your right leg straight. You don't have to be reaching for the foot. Or option with that strap around your foot. And we'll slowly come out towards the side. Right leg comes out to the side. A lot of different options. Strap is either around your foot, your hand could be on your knee, your peace fingers could be on your big toe, or you could be extended. Any way that feels good to you. Some days our balance is better than others. Mine is off today. From this space, and any extension you are at on the right, start to lean forward. It's like a halfway lift. This is going to be quite challenging in your glute. So I'm taking this in the modified form. You could do it with your hand around your foot, but your right leg is out to the side. Could also be knee bent. And slowly lift your chest back up. Right knee comes back out in front of you. Arms reach up and high. Step back. High crescent lunge. You should really feel that in your left calf. We'll come down to low crescent lunge. Right knee drops down. We'll kind of just shift into your left hip. So find a little bit of mobility here, or work towards mobility here. Just kind of moving around in this area in your body. Behind the back of your left leg, the front of your right hip. We're gonna try something called a half camel. It's really important that when you take this, you listen to yourself. So, 90-degree bend in my left leg, 90-degree bend in my right leg. First step I'm gonna take is taking my hands to my lower back. And then you wanna squeeze your glutes slightly to protect your lower back. I maybe shift forward. If that feels okay, starting at the top of my head, I would softly, if my neck feels okay with it, start to let my head fall back and look back. If that feels like something that's really doable for you, then the next step in a half camel would be my right hand would reach back for my right foot. So I think you guys can see in this frame. So I'd engage my glutes a little bit. My left hand would start at my left hip. My right hand would reach back for my right foot. My left arm would come up or behind me. Take whichever variation works the best for you. Just that back bend, a full 5 breaths here. And slowly bringing your chin back forward. You should feel a deep sensation, maybe even a little starry, that's okay. Your hands will come out in front of you. We'll step back, you'll take or skip a chaturanga, clean the slate. Halfway down, upward facing and downward facing dog. And then we'll slowly come all the way up to. There we go. My phone kind of keeps glitching out. Your left leg is going to come out towards the side. So same thing. You could have your peace fingers on your big toe, or you could bend the knee or modify. Just have your left leg out towards the side. From this space, you're going to halfway lean forward. Use the strength in your glute. So your left leg is out towards the side. Think like a halfway lift. It's gonna be a lot in your right glute. You're strong, you've got it, you're powerful. And then slowly lifting your chest back up. Left leg will come out in front of you. Left knee out in front of you. Arms reach up and high. Step back, high crescent lunge. Right foot's out in front of you, left foot is behind you. And we'll come to low crescent lunge. Hands come down, drop your left knee down. Just start to kind of move around here. Moving into your hip, moving into your groin. And we'll try that half camel on this side. So your left knee is behind you, maybe like a 90-degree angle, and the knees will help. Hands come to your lower back, squeeze your glutes, maybe shift your hips forward, and then let your head fall back if that feels safe. If that feels okay, then your chest, maybe eventually hand to the foot and arm up. Slowly, the chin is the last thing forward. Both of your hands come back down to the ground. Reorient yourself for a second if you need to. Step your right foot back, take or skip a chaturanga. Downward facing dog. Bend both of the knees, step or float the feet to the front of your mat. On an inhale, halfway lift, lengthen through your spine. On an exhale, fold forward. On an inhale, come all the way up and high and come to a steeple mudra. Let's point your fingers touching, rest the hands interlace. From this space, start to squeeze your glutes a lot. We're gonna try a back bend. What's really important in this is that you move slowly and you keep an engagement in your glutes so that it doesn't feel crunchy in your lower back. Feet could be hip width or together. My pointer fingers come up. My head falls back first, if that feels okay in your neck. If your neck feels funky, then don't let your head fall back. Just keep it in line with your elbows. My head falls back, I look up at my pointer fingers, then I start to reach back. My chest, maybe eventually my lower back. And slowly coming back up, not a rush. Maybe one more here. If that's too much for you, bring your hands to your lower back. I'll show you the modified version. Is also an option. So lift your chin up, look back, squeeze your glutes, think joy. This can be a lot in the chest and in the body, so really try and welcome and don't overdo it. Head falls back first, then chest, then maybe middle back, maybe lower back. And slowly coming all the way back up. Chin comes back forward, just take a couple breaths. And slowly the hands come down towards the ground. We'll come down onto the knees. I'm going to show you a different variation of camel. This one's challenging, but fun. So I'm going to show this with a strap because a lot of people don't have the mobility behind their leg to do it without a strap. So what happens is my left foot's going to come out in front of me, a 90-degree angle. Then my right knee is going to be a 90-degree angle. I'm going to bring my right hand to the side of my body, and I find that if I bring my right shin in a little bit, I have more balance. So what I'll do is I'll put my strap around my left foot, and then I just try and lift my left leg up. So you kind of lean and lift. If that were to feel okay and you felt really open here, you could lean all the way back, straighten and lift. That's a lot, so maybe start with a strap. Maybe just lean into your right hand, barely lift your left leg. Get that balance first, because that's challenging. Just a few minutes to play around here. Sorry, a few seconds, not minutes. Trying it out. Different variation of camel. You can take this with a strap. Always. And we'll take the same thing on the opposite side. So just bring your right foot out in front of you. I'm going to switch sides so you can see. My left hand is going to come on the outside of my left shin. A strap comes around my right foot. And then I'm going to take that 90-90 bend, lean towards the left, and lift my right leg. If you're feeling really open here, you won't need a strap. Peace finger to your big toe. Same kind of a sensation. Balance here is hard. Whichever way feels best to you, move slowly. And if this one's not for you, that's okay too. Just showing different movements. And falling out of these is something that happens. Falling out of yoga poses is something that happens. That's okay. You just have to breathe. I fall out of things all the time. Slowly we'll come off of this side. We'll come down onto our backs. Go ahead and if you like props on your back, grab them. So if you like blankets or any of the above, grab those props. We'll work into the hips. So lowering down onto your back, your right leg will cross over your left leg. That may be enough for you. That may be your edge. If that's your edge, stay there. If you want a little bit more, reach for the back of your left thigh or for the front of your left shin. In the face and the eyes, really working into that right IT band. In order to work towards kindness for everyone, it is our duty, or in yoga, our dharma, to always first love and treat the self, which is why we move, why we breathe intentionally. Why we start internally with our own thoughts. Ahimsa, lessening of harm or violence. Less, eventually, of the self and more of the we. We'll slowly straighten your left leg. Right knee will cross over the left leg, just an easy twist. And slowly coming back around. Hip opener, left foot crosses over your right thigh. That may be plenty for you. If that feels like enough, stay. If you want a little more, reach to the back of your right thigh. Figure 4. And slowly releasing, taking a twist. Right leg straightens, left knee crosses the body, head slightly turns to the left. And slowly we'll come back around, one last movement before our final rest. Happy baby, reach for the outsides of the feet with the hands. And coming down towards your final rest, your final resting pose, Shavasana. If there's anything you would like to place on your body to make this more comfortable for yourself, please do so. Blankets, eye pillow, could even just be your strap over your eyes. Working towards complete relaxation here. This is a practice to get to this relaxation state. So doing your best to just choose to be still. Face goes soft. Lips slightly part. And tongue comes off the top of your mouth. Shoulders melt away from the ears. Hips ground down into the earth. Knees slightly turn out. Feet slightly turn out. Begin to notice the sound that you hear. And slowly you can start to bring the breath and the life back into the physical body, chest, lungs. And eventually rolling to the right in a little ball. Slowly press up into a seated position. Bring both of your hands to the center of your sternum. Bow your head to honor yourself. The yamas, or the ethical principles of yoga, can teach us how to take our practice beyond our mat. Ahimsa, or less violence, less harm, reminds us to steer our thoughts towards kindness, to steer our actions towards kindness, and to think a little bit less of the self and more of the we. Thank you so much for being my teachers and my friends. Namaste. Thank you, guys. Thank you. Thanks, Laura.